Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Helen Barnes, and I am one of the founders of Way of the Sacred Feminine. And today I'm here to talk to Elisabeth von Madarasz. Welcome, Elisabeth.
Well, thank you.
Who is one of our facilitators of Way of the Sacred Feminine. So Way of the Sacred Feminine is a new program that we're offering for the empowerment of women. And we're very excited. I'm particularly excited to be here talking to you, Elisabeth, because I know that you have this huge passion for the work. And we're just here to give you a little bit of an insight into what this work is about and what it would be like for you if you choose to join one of our courses and follow the program. So Elisabeth, I'll hand over to you, and maybe you'd like to share a little bit about yourself and also what it is from your kind of spiritual calling that brings you in alignment with this work.
It feels like the perfect next step for me, Helen. As a founder of the Academy of Shamanic Studies over 30 years ago, I spent decades around healing the wounded feminine, healing the masculine wounded within us, and marrying them both within our beings as part of that service. And this feels like the next step of joining a group of passionate, committed, gorgeous women who are offering this internet course to create loving, compassionate women leaders for this time, so that we can stand very firmly alongside our divine males and co-create joyfully, lovingly, respectfully, together as one in the oneness, the new earth, because this is the way it must happen. That hoop of going from separation of the different sexes into coming together as one within and without to create our new earth. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Elisabeth. I'm interested that you, having completed the program and come through to be able to now proudly present this work, the Way of the Sacred Feminine. What were the highlights of the course for you? What really stood out that you would like to share with others?
What I loved and deeply appreciated was the beautiful way that you created the journey into self, as well as the follow-up training for compassionate women, loving leaders, in the very gentle progress of the inspiration topic from one week to the next. It was beautifully created and opened my consciousness at the beginning of the week. And then I invited the universe to show me where I still hold blocks around this within me, which it did very effectively. So much stuff came up for me. And then sharing the results of that week of meditation on this theme with a group of gloriously compassionate, loving women who each aspect that they brought up, it was like, oh, yes, I've got that too. Oh, yes, I've got that too. So it enlarged my awareness of what unfinished business I hold. And then I found that in the love and compassionate hearing and witnessing of each other, it simply dissolved away. Like there's an alchemy that occurred through the love that dissolves the unlike that arises. And so I found that I had a shift in consciousness every week through both courses.
Oh, wow. So that really brings up a couple of questions for me. One is that you've done so much work on yourself over the years, and I know this because you've been in the arena of, spiritual facilitators. You've done an awful lot of work on yourself, as many of us have, and I guess many women that will look at joining this work, particularly if they're inspired to become Loving Hearts leaders. So if there was enough in it for you. You obviously, yeah.
There are layers upon layers. I mean, we talk about the onion peeling. Absolutely. There's, what I found is not only myself, but clients, we're going down to the deepest, most unconscious, repressed levels of self. And I ain't finished yet.
That makes sense. It almost feels as though as consciousness just keeps expanding, and we keep moving into these deeper states within, that more and more stuff comes up. So I guess.
And every single week there's massive downloads of the most potent light I've ever experienced this year and any year of my 72 years on this planet. And so, of course, that's going down into those deepest, darkest levels of self, which are now ready to arise and be dissolved in this light.
Yeah, right. Did you make kind of lasting friendships? I mean, was this something that, have these women connected, or did you connect with the women on the course, the sisters, as they're called, in a profound way, do you feel?
Because each week, each one of us shared deeply from the core of our being our most vulnerable parts of self. That creates such a profound bonding, honor, respect, love, compassion, as well as knowing that whatever they've said, I have in me as well. And so gratitude that they've shown me that aspect that I hadn't come across in that week of meditation on the subject. And with the opportunity to have follow-up phone calls apart from our weekly group meetings with individuals throughout that time, creating deeper bonds. Yes, I have such a heart connection to every single woman on my groups. Absolutely profound, deep love.
That's wonderful. Because I think this is part of the rise of the divine feminine that we talk a lot about within the way of the sacred feminine. That coming together as sisters and connecting at the heart and having that as a really enduring kind of deep relationship that will last for a considerable time. Really, that's what we need to do, is expand the sisterhood. I guess the global sisterhood. Well, that's one of the reasons for doing this work, is to do that. Yeah.
And then we can support each other on this profound, challenging journey of service that we've come to play our part in co-creating the new earth that is here.
Okay, so I know we need to keep this brief for people, but I had two more questions that come up with that. You talk about service, so the Loving Hearts leadership, which is really about offering compassionate leadership and showing how different leadership can be when the feminine influence is there. I was just wanting to you to kind of touch on that and the Loving Hearts, and how, is this a new model for leadership? Is this, conscious, compassionate leadership something that our world needs right now? I'm interested in your perspective on that.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I love about it, is that having been facilitator of the Academy for 30 years, I had the huge adjustment of absolutely learning to take off that facilitator hat of teacher, because in this paradigm we're creating a new way, which is without hierarchy, without leader, and that I'm simply facilitating, holding the space for each one of us to share what has arisen around that theme during that week. But nobody's telling anybody what to do. We're evolving as a result of witnessing each other and ourselves in this ever-deepening, beautifully constructed journey.
Yes, so thank you. That was one of the other questions, was just this. So witnessing, so women being held in a sacred space where they can be themselves, be, you know, speak their truth and be authentic. That feels very, very powerful, a kind of a powerful foundation to this work. So you obviously found that to be a big part of the journey, and very inspiring kind of aspect of the work.
And a huge part in my evolution, to let go that old paradigm of teacher, because now we gather as equals, because we're all goddesses, all human divine beings, each of us with our wisdom and our pain to share as equals. And so this is the new dance for the planet that must happen in all areas of all our institutions and systems.
Yes, that's wonderful. Yeah, I came up with the word the other day that we now are sharers of knowledge. You know, we don't actually teach anybody anything, but we share our knowledge. And it's not even knowledge; it's wisdom, I think, that we share these days.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's beautiful.
May I add something to that just briefly? I was told just a few days before Christmas that I was to dissolve the Academy of Shamanic Studies. And it's like letting go of that has lightened me so much, and let go of that old way of being, which we have moved beyond now. And so I feel freed to be formless in just joyful co-creation with my sisters as we gather.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So Elisabeth, I think we've probably given the wonderful, beautiful women that will be looking at this a little insight into it. And I guess if they want to know more, of course, you know, you're available for them to speak to directly.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what would be your final comment to a woman considering doing the way of the sacred feminine? What do you feel you might be able to say that would really encourage women to hear this calling, I guess? Yeah.
I can't think of a more perfect way for myself and any woman to journey through this year, which is all around potent new beginnings, becoming authentic so we can create new beginnings to fulfill our spiritual purpose in being here, than by doing it with a group of loving, compassionate women and being guided to evolve every week through these themes, to understanding more and more and more what is still held within our beings, and release it with love and acceptance and joyful co-creation. So it's a beautiful way to evolve this year's astrological purpose for 2019 with the loving support of a sisterhood.
Yes, well, that would inspire me to do it for sure. Yes, thank you for putting it in such a way. So Elisabeth, I wish you really well with your group and pulling together, you know, attracting these women that are going to do this work with you. I know you will be an amazing facilitator, and yeah, I look forward to some other beautiful goddesses joining you in this work. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Helen, and I want to honor all the work that you did in this massive creation with your fellow sisters of endless hours to create this beautiful work for us to dance this new dance together. Thank you.
Thank you.